Hey yo, I know you heard of Spotify, right? It's free to download, and your girl's on there. That's right. So download, search the Conversation Piece Podcast with Aquila, and hit follow. It's that simple. Hello, and welcome back to The Conversation Piece with your host, Aquila. We love intrigue. We love drama. We love mysteries. Well, this story account of the life of Esteban de Dorantes has it all. He was connected to the Coronado expedition and the first non-native person to reach the Colorado Plateau. But he was lauded for his ability to speak with indigenous people. Born Mustafa ZEMMOURI around 1501, a Berber living in Morocco, when Portugal conquered Morocco in 1522, he was captured and sold to Andres Dorantes and given the name Esteban. Andre Dorantes took part in a Narvaez expedition and took Esteban along. Narvaez was a conquistador in Mexico, and a Spanish court appointed him governor of Florida, and being a conquistador, they did what they did best: plunder and pillage indigenous villages wherever they set foot. In 1527, he and 300 people set sail. But we plan and God plans. And God does not like ugly. Combating a hurricane that ravaged the boat, they found themselves stranded in Cuba and had to wait until supplies came from Spain. They reached Florida with about 400 men and 42 horses. Looking for treasure for months, they found themselves with a low supply of food and eventually resorted to eating the horses for nourishment. The need for survival also saw the men making weapons and using the remaining supplies to make boats, as they were under constant attack. People have a way of defending themselves when outsiders come bursting through, demanding what's yours is now theirs. With the natives getting the better of them, Narvaez and his crew needed to leave. Their plan was to head back to the Spanish settlement in New Spain, known today as Mexico City. September 22nd, 1528, the now skeleton crew had eaten all but one horse. Trying to navigate the current of the Mississippi Delta was challenging, and the boats drifted apart. Esteban's boat capsized, but he and Dorantes were saved. The crew now consisted of 80 men. They came ashore in Galveston, Texas, and were provided food and shelter, but most of the men died off due to disease and hunger. They were now down to 15 men. In the spring, Dorantes gathered his remaining men, including Esteban, and tried to cross the mainland, but were seized and enslaved for 6 years. Those who tried to escape found themselves executed. The year is now 1534, and they are only down to 4 men. The next 8 years saw them searching the southwest U.S. and Mexico, and in this time, Esteban learned the various and diverse languages of the indigenous people. They found themselves upon a Spanish settled community near Culiacan, Sinaloa, and the stories from the community told of the riches in the north and a territory called Tierra Nueva. None of the 3 Spaniards wanted to travel north, and among the community, was a viceroy of New Spain, Antonio de Mendoza. The rentes, still wanting to cash in on riches, sold Esteban to Mendoza. Mendoza appointed Esteban on a mission due to his language ability and sent him north on a recon mission. But, being a slave, he could not lead the expedition. Enter one Franciscan priest by the name of Marcos de Niza. Marcos de Niza went along with him looking for the 7 cities of Cibola. It is reported that Esteban and Marco did not get along. Esteban's ability to communicate with the locals perhaps rubbed Marcos the wrong way, as Esteban was shown more respect. Within reach of Tierra Nueva, because of his ability to communicate, Esteban was sent ahead with Sonoran scouts to see what they could learn from the natives. Before he went, he and Marcos designed a signal to indicate how valuable the wealth would be via cross size. If a small cross was sent back, the riches were low. A large cross meant substantial wealth was found. Marcos got his answer in the size of a cross the size of a human man. Esteban at this time kept north and learned more of Cibola. This would make him the first non-native person to contact the Zuni. Marcos, having received the man size of a cross, hurriedly wanted to catch up to Esteban, but was met with some disturbing news. The scouts reported that Esteban reached the village of Hawica and claimed it in the name of the Spanish crown. The Zuni were not having any of that and captured and imprisoned Esteban. Another story suggested that news of violence erupted, which caused the natives to flee, and news of Esteban's death came with them. Marcos is reported to have heard that Esteban's entrance into Hawica was hindered, and Esteban's group was forced to make camp just outside the community. And when Esteban tried to enter again, he was met with resistance. Upon fleeing, he and his companions were caught in a rainstorm of arrows. Someone said, "We saw no more of Esteban. Rather, we believe they shot him with arrows as they did the rest of those who traveled with him. We believe no one escaped except us." There is, of course, another account. The one that added the allure of his legend, his mystery. Remember, Esteban was an enslaved man, and he had the ability to communicate with the native population. Also, being a slave man, he looked more like the native people. Perhaps he saw a chance at freedom. Was he really killed, or did he simply disappear into Tierra Nueva with the help of friends? According to sources, there is little information relating to his death to know exactly what happened. What is known is that the Zuni let everyone go in Esteban's scouting party. Perhaps that's how news of his death spread. Marcos returned to the viceroy and lied about the riches found, implying abundant wealth beyond imagination, prompting the Coronado Exposition a year later. Coronado's forces arrived at the Zuni village and found no such riches, but being conquistadors, they did what was in their nature, setting in motion the colonization of Mexico. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Conversation Piece Podcast. I am your humble host, Akila, requesting that you join me again. So, until then, be safe, love, and value yourself so that you can love and value others. I bid you adieu with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you.